Yeah, in a school, if you have a class in a school, anybody born within a few weeks might have the Sun square Uranus. All the Geminis or all the Leo, all the mutable, all the fixed, all, like depending where Uranus was, and the other people wouldn't be. So they would stand out in a class to a teacher. But everybody has their own unique quality. Everyone can grow. Everyone's their own flower. Everyone's their own thing. You're just seeing potential vulnerabilities, and you're wondering, how does someone solve it, or how do they navigate using that? So if Venus is your receiving love, you're going to be insecure about receiving love or about satisfaction. When we get to Mars, we're talking about energy going out, how we put energy out, what we try and do, how we try and prove things. What's Uranus going to do to that? A conjunction, a square, or an opposition to Uranus is going to excite and destabilize Mars. It's going to make it more extreme, more excitable, more independent. Okay, imagine a 4-year-old kid being excitable, aggressive, high-strung, independent, can't hold still, can't take orders, can't be told what to do, and is trying to be more excitable, and you're trying to slow them down a bit. Whoa. There's the puzzle. How do you burn off the energy and calm the person down? So where is our boundaries of how far we can push things, who we can force, who we can control, how much we can compete? So Mars is our competitiveness. It's how we put energy out, man or woman. It's how we put energy out. It's our muscle tone, it's our strength, it's our use of force. If Uranus says it excites that use of force, so you're going to be intolerant to anything restrictive or anything boring, like a classroom teacher, like a normal, regular office job. Like, you're going to explode over things. Because with Venus, you implode, but Mars, it's you're putting energy out, it explodes. It's the classic accident-prone aspect. It's the classic temperamental aspect of anger, of disruption, and Mars, of how you put out energy, is a significant of the type of work you do. It's going to be hard to find stable work if Uranus is squaring or opposing or conjuncting your Mars. You're not going to want to take orders. You don't want to be told what to do. You just want to do it. Well, it's just when you put energy out, anything you put out is going to affect other people. So if you push, someone else is reacting. If you pull, someone else is having to come along with it. Like what we do with our energy, we push it out, take it in. So Mars is how you push out. So one person might be super aggressive and competitive and try to do things, but can't take orders, or might not stay on the team. But they might be a specialist, but they're accident prone. Someone could be a racing car driver, but that adrenaline, it's useful in a scrum and immediate fight that, but it's not always reliable. It's predictable, and the person is going to lose their temper, get super hyperactive. You know, and if that accident proneness shows up when they're earlier, it might be a longer time to walk. Or they might walk and they might be trying to climb in and run out the door, run out. At least not one of these kids you can leave alone. It's too proactive, too independently active, too radically active. As soon as you think you can't do something, or as soon as you say it, they're going to want to do it. Or they're going to really anger and explode restlessness out of that anger. They're frustrated. They get blocked from what they're doing instead of just calming down and trying something else. What? It blows up. So the excitable Mars is just like, well, here's a jar of nitroglycerin. Put it in your pocket. Go play the football game. You know, it's enough. Just put it in your pocket. Walk across the street. Just hold it in your hand. Walk across the street. Something's going to happen. They're not going to be the patient one. They can hold the steady job. I got you a good job. Just hold it for 2 years. They'll make enough. They won't last. They're breaking away. So they're breaking away from the structures. So they're breaking away from authority and parents. But they want to do things that aren't necessarily good for them. So the parents are going to try and hold them back, and they're going to break away from the parents. They're going to blame, who needs this? I'm out of here. Take this job and shove it. So this destabilizing of Mars, this anxiety of Mars, this restlessness, it can make someone, simple level, the anticipation, I want to make love to you, I want to make love to you, I want to do this to you. And as you start doing this to you, you're not stable, and you can have a premature scenario. You try and it doesn't work. You know, like you get the job and then you don't, something happens, you don't, I can't stay here, or I'm changing this. But it's volatile, it's edgy, it's going to run into battles with people. It's going to be edgy, and half of you isn't going to want them, and half of you is going to just, well, if the idiot's there, I'll fight it. So it depends how you use your Mars. So when someone has something like this, some Tai Chi, some yoga, some things counter that volatility. But they're not inclined to be, with the squares and oppositions, they're not inclined to be a long-term athlete. They could be an athlete and do really well, but then an accident might come, then they're not going to be athlete. They'll have to do something else for the rest of their life. And they have the struggle of, what am I going to do now? This happens. They run into, oops. You know, so for someone that's like, could be the odds of early sexual experiences with Uranus Mars, very happy. And unstable early sexual experiences are high. Unexpected, oops. You know, we did this, oops. And you get pregnant and be on your own. So what you put out, it's strong. You're putting it, you got to try, but it's not stable. And other people don't respond to it as stably. So you don't get the results you expect from the sudden surge of energy. It really needs this, Mars really needs the Jupiter wisdom and the Saturn restraint. If you want to climb that mountain, you can do it. Be prepared, Saturn. You want to have an exciting lifestyle with Mars, get prepared. You want to do martial arts, be really, go take the lessons till you're the best you could be, and then see. If you've done the preparation, you could go for that exceptional thing. But most people go for something that seems exceptional and try and get away from having to work so hard at it, and then they're not going to succeed with it. So these are people who are not so stable in what they're doing or how they force things. And the anger is restless and unstable and volatile. So cuts, burns, fevers, accidents, breaks, rashes. All of these things are Mars factors. They come up in time, but there could be a proneness to it. Like if the kid has some specific physical problem, can't get around with, they may not walk so early, or they may have some eccentricity, or you have to observe what layer it comes in at what time. When it comes, you can't expect that person to force things or to be reliable around their forcing things. So the father might think you're going to get the job, you're going to finish school, you're going to get to high university, you're going to get the job, you're going to do this. And the person is probably not going to make that plan or be that consistent. Mars is a 2-year cycle. If Uranus is hitting it every 6 months, there'll be some disruption that comes in a lifetime. So there's always temperamental outbursts, or I've done this and get let down for it. I did it, who cares? Or there's always this volatility. It's normal for that person. They'll think other people are more aggressive, other people are forcing this, other people are doing this. They're doing that, I can't stay there. So you're trying to get anger management. Whoa, this is the volatile, edgy temper. This person tends to drive too fast. If someone stopping you from doing what you want to do, this person with Uranus Mars would have trouble staying in a line. It's like being told what to do. It's hard to stay put. I'd rather rest, I'll walk around, I'll pace, I'll do something. And some of them pacing all the time. It could be some idiosyncrasy in someone's life. They managed everything else. But when you have the kid with this and that, you're not going to try and not have sports. You're just going to watch at them. You're going to try and encourage them to do things. And you're going to watch for that. You'll know it. Because if that was there was an anxiety or insecurity between the parents when the kid was born around who was doing what. This restlessness, this impatience, this temperament was there. Maybe there was a sudden birth, maybe, who knows, maybe there'd been a sudden disruption or change, maybe it had to be cesarean or something like this, something can come in, but it won't show right away when the baby's first born. It's going to show as they start to stand up earlier or later, as they start running by the time they're 2. It'll show when they start trying to compete with other people physically that they may not feel they can compete. And the parents don't know why. So when you see these things, I like to imagine the kids and seeing kids coming up with it because they still have to grow into things that become their adult life. By the time we're adult, we already have it in us, but the explanation usually backs up to when we're kids. But when you meet someone with this, you'll see it. And then you have to start wondering why. They're going to be insecure. Like, don't tell them what to do. Someone might have been beat up, someone might have been pushed, someone might have been held back, something like, so many things can affect your Mars. Nutrition, what you want, not getting what you want. So many things, family, but it's about your strength and how you use it. And there's a tendency to be unstable with that, nervous with that, restless with it, volatile. So Uranus doesn't calm down Mars, it excites Mars. The more Mars gets excited, the more aggressive you're prone to be, or the more aggression you're going to run into. Jupiter is the one that guides your Mars. So you can have this crazy thing. If Jupiter could be tied into it and you have to really struggle to understand what's going on, what's right or wrong. Or if Jupiter's not attached to it, it may have advice and you're living up to it or not living up to it. It would depend how well your Jupiter is. It's a hard thing to assess. Does your Jupiter understand your responsibilities? Can it guide you responsibly? Or does it understand how you have to break away? And like, we all have an understanding. We all think we understand things, and not always is it constructive or growth oriented or healing. But you're dealing with potential vulnerabilities, and someone may want to play in sports and they don't make it. And they have to find what else they can do to compete. You know, so as I'm thinking about this, I start thinking out charts, like, and I don't remember them. Like, I think I just thought of Robert Louis Stevenson. He wrote Treasure Island. He wrote a lot of great books, but he was bedridden his whole life. He couldn't walk, he couldn't move, but he was bedridden. But he still wrote and lived in that world. But it wasn't based on physical strength. Many people with a physical anxiety or weakness, or even an accident proneness, run into that situation, and then after that's happened, they learn how to do something special in spite of that. So there's an eccentricness of Uranus around the use of force, around energy, around muscle tone, around physically fit, just hyperreaction, restlessness. So someone might be quick to do things, do this, let's do this instead, and they're too fast, and doing these fast, it spoils it. But how do you tell someone? How do you change that? You move out of the way. So the solution is you're still trying to be Mars in the sign it's in and trying to express it in the house it's in and do that as best as you can. And you're still trying to find your independence where Uranus is. And they'll fight, these two things will fight each other. And you get used to that fight. That becomes a normal factor in your psyche. That's just normal too, until you start living with someone who doesn't have that, or working with people who don't have that, then it's going to stand out as a behavioral pattern. It stands out from the chart. You see it, and you begin to start wondering, what can I do with this? So Mars is the first one of putting energy out, being strong, standing up, forcing, hitting, pushing, throwing, banging, running, breaking things. That's Uranus. So this person's inclined to be a bit of a klutz or a bit of a disruptive or explosive thing. So if you leave someone with Uranus, Mars by themselves, they'll probably take off and do something on their own. If you tell them they can't, they'll probably go do it anyways. So this high-strungness, even a Uranus-Mars, if you imagine racers, they could be the fastest racehorse around, be the best, most exciting racehorse around. They can run faster than anybody, but the minute you try and get them through the gates, they won't let anyone touch them. They won't allow themselves to go in the gate. They'll start kicking, screaming. They won't allow themselves to race. So they don't get in the race because they can't go through the gate, even though they're better and faster than anyone else. So you end up trying to run on your own.